Prime Minister Netanyahu's biggest rival, a man named Benny Gantz, he maintains, according to our poll, his 7-seat edge over the Prime Minister. But Gantz is still dealing with his biggest scandal yet, really, since entering politics, the headlines over the reported Iranian hack of his cell phone. Gantz says the stories are meaningless gossip. Today, he wants the Attorney General to investigate if Netanyahu himself perhaps had a role in leaking the news of the hack to the press. Gantz, a few days ago, said that there is no risk of blackmail.
I reiterate to you that there was no security threat and there is no security material, and I am in no way subject to blackmail.
Hebrew media also reporting that the cell phone of former Prime Minister Ehud Barak was also hacked a few months ago. Channel 12 News here reports Barak's phone was hacked by foreigners who then sold the contents to Iran directly. Things like texts, documents, videos. The head of Israel's Shin Bet security agency reportedly made a house call to visit Barak a few months ago to personally inform him about that security breach as well. Amir, I want to ask about the cyber hacking here. These are Israeli politicians. They use their phones constantly. How does anyone, Iran, a foreign hacker, how do you hack a phone? It's in your pocket the whole time. It's in your hand the whole time. How do you hack an Israeli politician?
There are several ways of doing it. One would be physically to connect a device to the phone and hack it that way. And you said it's probably not the case here. We don't have exact details on how this transpired, but we do know how it usually happens. It usually happens via what we call spear phishing or whaling, where the big fish in this case is a politician or it could be any kind of high-profile figure. Okay. And in this case, normally they would customize some sort of a message that would inspire trust and or urgency in the victim or the target.
So they're pretending to be a friend, a family member, that kind of thing?
Yeah, usually that's the case, or they send a different message from a service supplier like Google, Apple,
so
and then
on some level, then, the person with the phone still is pressing something or typing something or opening something, right? You have to, even if you think it's your mother saying happy birthday, you have to open that.
Yes, normally you would have to click a link or install some kind of application, which would be the factor that collects all the data and exfiltrates it outside.
One thing I want to note about this, that Gantz is he's not exactly confirming nor denying it, but he says, look, I'm aware of this as a former general, as a former chief of staff who entered politics. I know, I've been warned, my phone is susceptible to being hacked, and I took caution. Is that a bigger headline here, that these generals, military commanders, they know that their personal phones may be hacked? They've been told about it. So when Gantz says, I was aware it could happen, he's not wrong.
Yes, well, even people in my field of work in information security are susceptible to these types of attacks, especially when it's spear phishing. It's very, I mean, there's intelligence gathering that happens beforehand. You know, it's a whole operation. So people can make mistakes. In this case, probably that's what happened. And normally you would need to have some kind of measures installed on the phone, physical and software, to protect it from these attacks.
They don't give IDF chiefs of staff, is there such a thing as a special cell phone that can protect against, you know, the human error of opening a birthday attachment that's really a hack?
Yeah, there is. Obviously, nothing is foolproof, as you could see in other stories around the globe with hacking of high-profile figures. And this is a perfect example of how it can happen to even the high-profile targets.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for breaking it down. It's a very complicated story, well explained for our viewers. More Israeli